Well, hi everybody. This is Bruce DePriest in the Channel 3 Early Warning Forecast Center alongside Lewis. Connor, how you doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, we are prepped and ready to go. Got the batteries charged, and yeah, we got a nice weekend here, and we're ready to get some information out.
Yeah, you know, last night when I was home, and this morning, I secured all the furniture that we have in our yard, anything that could blow around in the storm, because, you know, we could have winds up there 60, 70 miles an hour. And also yesterday evening I gassed up. I filled up a tank so that I could fill my generator if needed. And one of the gas stations did not have any more regular or mid-grade. So
yeah, I saw a little bit of a line last night. A little bit of a line. You could tell it was a bit busier than usual. Are you worried at all about your house with flooding concerns?
My basement floods. Yeah, I'm concerned. We had, with the remnants of Fred the other day, I did take on some water in the basement. So my basement is flood prone. The yard is not.
How did it do with Elsa?
Elsa, we did just fine. Yeah. But, you know, that's a whole big concern, flooding on many different levels. Mm-hmm. So we got, you know, new information for you. Let's get right to it. First of all, we want to really alert you as to the impacts that Henri is going to have on us tomorrow. There could be significant flooding, damaging winds, and power outages in Connor. The latest from Eversource is saying that 30 to 60% of Connecticut could lose power. Which is, I mean, that's going to really be a problem for, you know, for businesses, for folks, in every regard. So for days potentially.
Do you remember what the percentage was for Isaias?
I do not, but you know, this time around, you know, they're talking about, you know, I've seen numbers tossed around from 300,000 to 600,000 customers to 400,000 to 800,000 customers. Right now, it kind of looks like East Connecticut may be under the gun for the worst of it, but we can't rule out power outages in many parts of the state. Yeah, I mean, for everyone, the baseline is to expect power outages and hope it doesn't happen, but to expect that. Yep. I would say, you know, anticipate that it's going to happen, because it's essentially 50-50. Heavy rain, you know, we're talking about anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain, maybe locally higher amounts up to 10 inches, which could cause flooding. The coastal flooding and storm surge, that is high as well. Notice that bar is high because, you know, we're talking about a storm surge that could be 3 to 5 feet. Right. On top of that, you know, what really creates more of a problem is the fact that we have the full harvest moon tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And it's also coming in, you know, the brunt of the storm is coming in as the tide is coming in tomorrow evening. Right. So not good. And we can't rule out an isolated tornado or two, which is always common with the landfalling tropical system. Well, right now it's quiet. So, you know, the good news, Connor, is that people can run errands this afternoon. Mm-hmm. They can run errands this evening. There's still a good amount of time to prep for the storm. Yeah, that's definitely worth noting. And and at the same time, procrastinating till tomorrow morning is not wise, because it'll be pretty fast when we start looking at some of those impacts for tomorrow morning, late morning. And then obviously by the afternoon. Yeah, when we show you Futurecast in a little bit, you're going to see how fast the storm is going to ramp up. So we're quiet for now, which is good news. Now, you know, in parts of the state it looks threatening. Otherwise, it's just warm and humid. These are the latest weather alerts, and, well, Connor, you can see the whole state is just painted in blue or red. Right. So you notice how inland counties are all within that tropical storm warning, so we are expecting those impacts of 40+ mile-per-hour sustained winds across the entire state. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And where we see that hurricane warning, that is, right, Bruce, the area where there's the potential. That would be the one area where along the shoreline where there's the potential of those hurricane-force winds. Hurricane-force winds, yeah. And just to give you an idea of what we talk about wind ranges, tropical storm winds are a huge range. They're 39 to 73 miles an hour. We're expecting inland something, you know, between 40, 50, maybe 60 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. Hurricane warning, you know, the hurricane force winds, they start at 70 miles an hour and they go up. Of course, a hurricane warning also includes the storm surge as well. So it's really coastal and southern Connecticut that will probably see the strongest winds, but believe me, we're going to see some mighty strong winds over interior portions of the state. Those trees are going to be swaying back and forth tomorrow. The rain will come down torrentially and horizontally, and things are just going to ramp up as the day goes on. Speaking of the storm surge, for Sunday and Sunday night. Now, high tide is coming in the late evening and shortly after midnight. That's right around the time when we're feeling the brunt of the storm. So, you know, the storm surge and coastal flooding.
Yeah, the wind's really ramping up, and that gets closer to that high tide just a bit after sunset.
Yes. So not good. I mean, we're getting hit hard on many frontiers. So here is Henri right now. It is a Category 1 hurricane. You could see the eye essentially there. It's pretty much to the south of Block Island or Nantucket, south of Connecticut. And what's going to happen is the storm is moving to the north-northeast now, but there's an upper level low that's going to kind of grab it and try to pull it back toward the coast. So this is not going to be the usual path where it's out to sea.
Yeah, I think that's something that's just a bit difficult to kind of conceptualize, because obviously with a lot of these storms, they want to keep turning to the right, and you know, often Massachusetts or places a bit more out to sea would get the brunt of these storms, but there will be enough easterly flow to push that storm towards Connecticut.
Back towards the coast, even though it's pretty far out to sea right now. So it's kind of an unusual track. Here is the latest track. This is an update from 2 o'clock this afternoon. You can see it's moving pretty quickly now. You know, for days it was moving slowly. Now it's on the move, north-northeast at 17 miles an hour. It's a minimal hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 75 miles an hour. And I want to take a closer look. Now, this is the latest projection of this being on the coast of Connecticut by 8 o'clock tomorrow. But other models kind of disagree with that, Connor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so what's important to see is that the cone of uncertainty accounts for the possibility that there are still a range of outcomes, and we've seen that wobble over the past couple of days. And but ultimately, overall, we continue to see that most of those plumes have it going straight into Connecticut. So at this point, the range of possibilities is starting to get pretty limited as far as seeing less impacts rather than more impacts in Connecticut.
That cone of uncertainty is certainly tightening up than what it was a few days ago. So what the cone shows you is that it could strike anywhere from you know, southeastern New York to Rhode Island. And some of the models that we've been looking at, I've been looking at a model we use often called the GFS and the NAM. They're actually forecasting the storm to go a little bit more toward the Connecticut-Rhode Island border. So there's still some room. Now, a more easterly track is better for us in terms of wind, because the strongest winds, and you can see that the forecast is for Henri to be on the Connecticut coastline as a strong tropical storm with 70-mile-an-hour winds at 8 p.m. Now, on the eastern side of that, where the eye makes landfall, that's where the worst of the wind is.
Right, and it's, I mean, so theoretically a better situation if it goes towards the east, but we're still in a bad situation rain-wise if it goes a bit towards the other way.
You're right, because the most rain falls on the northern and northwestern part of the storm. So there are tremendous implications. You know, really just a shift in 50 miles in the storm track could really make all the difference in the world between flooding and no flooding. Losing power or not losing power. So there's still a chance that this storm could move a little bit more to the west or to the east. Here's Futurecast. This is what people want to know. 7 o'clock this evening, we're in good shape. It's later tonight, after midnight, into tomorrow morning when the tropical rain bands start to move in. So the center of Henri is still to the south of New England at this point. But watch what happens. This is Futurecast stopping at lunchtime, Connor.
Right. Yeah, so at this point, it's either marginally a Category 1 and more than likely some strong tropical storm status with those winds pushing 60 miles per hour. And we're also seeing that the eye wall with that excess of very heavy rainfall. And as you can see, this is one of those projections that goes a little bit closer to the east, which does nail us rain-wise across the entire state, but potentially a bit more gentle on us wind-wise.
Correct. Yeah, basically the center of the storm at this point in time. I know it's hard for people to determine because we really can't point at it. But if you take a look at Montauk Point and Block Island, that is where this model called the graph is forecasting the center to be. So you can see that this is a more easterly track by a little bit than what the official hurricane forecast was. So also watch what happens as we go through the afternoon. The heavy rain bands move in. You could also see the center of the storm making landfall not too far away from New London. The heaviest rain is over northern and especially western Connecticut. As we go through the afternoon, we're going to stop again at 7 o'clock. The problem here is, Connor, and a lot of times, tropical storms and hurricanes, when they move through New England, they keep on going. Mm-hmm. They're moving through it like gangbusters. They come in, they do their damage,
right,
and they go. In this particular case, this storm is going to slow down.
Yeah, sort of speak, traditionally they'll clip New England as opposed to swirling around in New England a little bit, because we do anticipate that the storm is going to have a westerly track. So at some point, it's going to have to be somewhat stationary before it moves back towards the east.
Right. So that's 7 o'clock. Now, even though we're still having heavy rain in the state, at this point in time, the winds are going to start diminishing because tropical systems, as they move over land, they weaken.
Right.
At this point in time, we're probably still going to be dealing with tropical storm force winds, but it will weaken Sunday night. And then as we go into Monday morning, this particular model is showing the center in weaker form, probably over western Connecticut. And then as we go through the day on Monday, the swirl, what's left of it, just keeps spinning around over southern New England.
Right, so as we get into Sunday evening, we start talking less about the wind impacts. Certainly power outages have already occurred, but then Sunday night into Monday, we start talking about the ongoing flooding concerns and what new flooding concerns may be arising.
Now, people are probably going to be knowing, we're going to be answering some questions in just a little bit, because I'm sure a lot of you have many concerns, but I'm sure one thing that people want to know is, what window of time could I lose power? And, right now I would say, the best, I don't want to use the word best, the most likely time you would lose power would be between noon and, say, 10 o'clock in the evening, during that window. I would think the worst of the winds are going to be in the afternoon and early evening. So I think that's a fair assessment there.
And Bruce, what do you think about the current saturation in Connecticut and how that'll affect what's going on flooding-wise?
Well, parts of the state, we'll go back on camera here. There we are. Parts of the state have had 5 inches of rain from the remnants of Fred.
Right.
My basement just recently flooded, and let's see if we can see some questions coming in. Let's see. Here we go. All right. We do have a good amount of questions and people responding. I'm going to put on my glasses here. What was I just saying?
We were talking about the Fred remnant moisture.
Oh, yes. The Fred remnant moisture, parts of Connecticut had 5 inches of rain. So in parts of the state, the ground is pretty wet, and that does increase the threat for some flash flooding.
Yeah. I was at Case Mountain this morning, and I mean, it's the ground is wet.
All right, so let's get to some questions. Okay, let's see, they're coming in so fast sometimes.
I know, there's so many. So what do we got?
Let's see here. Gloria says, thanks, Bruce, Connor. Okay, Anika says, healthcare workers are being asked to stay and sleep at work after their shifts. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Evacuate? Well, there might be some evacuations along the immediate coast.
Yeah, I've already heard of some self-recommendations for places in Groton. I heard that last night.
Beverly says that already prepped in Branford and ready to go.
Tornado outlook?
Oh, good question, Bobby. There is always a chance for a tornado. In fact, I looked at the latest storm prediction outlook, and they give us a 2% chance of a tornado tomorrow.
Right, especially along that the leading edge, one of those first bands.
Exactly. So we can't rule that out. That's why we're going to have the Weather Center staffed all day tomorrow, and there's a good chance you're going to see a lot of us a lot of the time during the day tomorrow. Madeline says Meriden. Well, Meriden is going to be one of those places in the heavy rain area, and certainly there's the chance you could lose some power. I would say you could see 50 to perhaps 60 mile an hour wind gusts. What do you think about that, Connor?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Meriden, just close enough to the shoreline that you are getting a bit of a buffer between the ocean, but still looking at winds that are going to be enough to cause some power outages.
Christopher brought up a good idea, full moon storm surge. And yes, we got the full sturgeon moon on Sunday, and that's not going to make matters any better. So, you know, it's all about the timing. The full moon is there, so tides are high anyway. And then you got the storm coming in as the tide is coming in. And that is not a good scenario. That's why we're thinking a 3 to 5 foot storm surge. So those flood-prone areas along the shoreline, there's no doubt about it. You know, with the storm tracking the way it is, it's going to pile water into Long Island Sound and put water up over the edge.
And that's why today is a good day for folks that could be in that flood zone along the coast to protect their valuables.
Katrina, should Talon County worry more about flooding or wind? You know, both. I think, you know, it depends on the storm track. You know, maybe flooding will be more of a concern to your west, but I don't want to commit to that just yet.
Right, but for now, the entire state can expect those strong winds.
Right,
including Talon County.
Jim Gardner is asking, what will it be like in Danbury? Jim, I tell you, you know, wind may not be as much of a concern for you. I think that's a fair assessment for far western Connecticut. But the heavy rain, you might be right in the bullseye. You know, you could end up, you know, with half a foot of rain.
Yeah, it just depends on that exact track, but yeah, for sure.
You know, the questions are coming in so fast, it's almost hard to stay on one question.
I know, right?
We really appreciate the fact that people are...
Waterbury, Manchester. So for Waterbury, you know, a bit closer to that Danbury area towards western Connecticut, that is where we're expecting some of those, the heaviest downpours as of right now. Again, depends on that exact track. And for Manchester, it does matter your proximity to the ocean, but it's also going to matter how far west and east you are. So for Manchester, those winds could be getting up to 40, 50 miles per hour. At the worst of it, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent assessment. Okay, let's go down to some of the prior questions. Willimantic, Janet, I don't know if we answered this question yet.
How will it be in Willimantic?
Yeah.
Willimantic, yeah. So again, same kind of lines as Manchester, a little bit towards the east, towards Rhode Island. So we are expecting those winds to really surge their way onshore from the southeast to the northwest. So that's going to be a corridor where we see those strong winds. So maybe getting close to 50, 60 in that range.
I was thinking the same thing, up there around 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
New Milford, you're more in line for the heaviest rain, Tanya, and maybe a little bit less in the way of wind. Everybody's going to get wind. It's just a matter of, you know, who gets that 60 to 70 mile an hour gust and who gets, you know, somewhere between, you know, 30 and 50. And right now it looks like western Connecticut would be in that 30 to 50. Central Connecticut, like Hartford, 50 to 60, and then 60 to 70, and maybe then some in eastern Connecticut.
Yeah, and our confidence comes from that because the most likely path is down the middle of Connecticut, and even if it deviates a little bit, we're all still going to get those winds.
There's no doubt. Yep, Old Lyme, well, you're going to be in for the wind. There's no doubt about that, Maureen. Brian and Sonia, probably the biggest concern for you. You know, the power outages, yes, that's a distinct possibility no matter where you are in the state, but you're right in that heavy bullseye. As we said, you know, the heaviest rain does occur on the western side of the storm track. Jean-Pierre?
And then it's gone, right?
Yeah, and it's gone.
I know.
I just said, what about New London? I think, where did that go? There it is. What about Groton City? I live by the water. You know, honestly, that is probably the part of the state that's going to get the strongest winds and perhaps the strongest storm surge.
Right. I mean, that's a flood-prone area normally.
And especially looking at the track. I mean, if the track is just to the west of Groton, then that's in the bad zone. So,
right on the east side of the eye of the storm, that's going to really pull in that ocean water, big time.
We saw, let's see, Litchfield. What was that?
Derek's asking a comparison of this to Isaias.
You know, that's a very good question. Isaias, of course, was a massive power outage, but Isaias passed to the west. Okay, and that's the entire state was on the bad side of that storm, so that did not help. In this particular case, the eye could kind of like bisect Connecticut.
Right.
So in some cases, it's going to be the wind issue. I would say the eastern half of the state, from central Connecticut on west, it's more of a rain issue. So it's really a tough call. As we were talking about earlier, a difference of 25 to 50 miles, which does not seem that much, can make all the difference in the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The difference of having a flooded basement and not, it really will depend on that exact track.
You know, see, I saw a comment in there that said overhyped. You know what? I don't think so.
I mean, how often do we get tropical systems in Connecticut?
And hurricanes, and also,
you know, this is not a nor'easter. This is not a blizzard. This is a very unique system. It comes with significant impacts.
It's not often when Connecticut's under a hurricane warning. And you know, by the way, the last time a hurricane, not that this will hit the Connecticut coast as a hurricane officially, the last time this happened was Hurricane Gloria back on September 27th in 1985. So this doesn't happen often. And our goal is to keep you and your family and your pets, they're part of the family too, all your loved ones, safe and informed. We're not trying to hype anything. In this particular case, you know, I mean, we're staying calm and informing you, and we're not hyping anything up. We're just here to inform you and help you make your plans.
Yep. Just our job is to give you the facts and let you digest that information and plan accordingly.
Yep. Let's see. Gretchen said, I walked to work in Gloria. You know, my first son, who's now 35 years old, he was born during Hurricane Gloria, so that was quite the week for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see.
What were the worst? It's gone.
Let's see, where did you see that?
What is the duration of the storm, Kerry?
Well, you know, it's going to start tomorrow morning. Even later on tonight, it's going to be starting in. And then it's going to be ramping up, and we're going to be feeling the worst of it from late morning through the afternoon into the evening. Into the evening,
yep. And then at some point tomorrow evening, we will start to talk about things improving. Into by the time we get to midnight, we start talking about any ongoing flooding. And then once we get into Monday, we'll start talking about any secondary effects from the weekend system, but potentially some more rain in the second wave.
Lisa says, I remember Gloria. I was a sophomore in Stafford. All right, well, you know, okay, once again, you know, Connor and I got you covered, and we got the whole weather team that is going to be with us this weekend. We got Scott and Mark tomorrow morning, and Lauren.
Right.
Melissa's going to be here tomorrow, and Connor and I are going to be here tomorrow afternoon, and perhaps the entire weather team. It all depends on how bad things get. Donna says, thank you to keeping us updated. You're welcome. We love, this is our job. We love keeping people informed and safe, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to hype anything up, but in this particular case, we have to beat the drum. This is an urgent situation. So, you know, we're just here to keep you informed and give you the timing, the impact, how it's going to impact your life, and that's really what it's all about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're here to give you the facts and the latest forecast, and this will be an impactful storm.
All right. So Connor and I have a lot of work to do. We got to get ready for Eyewitness News at 6. We encourage you to watch us then. We'll have a brand new track at that point in time because the tracks come in every 6 hours. So we are happy to have you join us on Eyewitness News at 6, and we'll have even another track on Eyewitness News tonight at 11. And also at 7 o'clock, I believe, we're going to do a special where people are going to ask questions, and that's going to be right here on Channel 3.
Right.
So
bit of a bonus today.
There you go. All right. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and we'll keep you updated and help you. We'll guide you right through this storm. We're here to help you out.
Yep. Enjoy the afternoon. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Hey, guys.